overall? You guys were up 16, not the entire thing.
Yeah, I mean they've been playing well for the past. They've won 4 in a row, and they've played like that. You know, they they have a lot of athletes that can disrupt, and when they're making shots, you know, with Bren and McDermott, our defense in the second and third was pretty good. The first and fourth, you know, that's too many points for the kind of defense that we want to play. Obviously, we did some things or didn't do enough because we let them back in the game, but they forced the issue and they just kept attacking. And there were some key turnovers that led to them getting out in transition. And then we gave up some threes. We were trying to help on the pick and roll, and we left some guys open on the wings for threes. But we did enough to win the game, and that's, you know, really important, especially after the emotional week that we had last week, and you know, back to back. And I'm thankful that we had a couple of days of practice to recharge and get some energy back in our legs. But I'm proud of the guys when it got pretty tight. Like, again, there was no panic. We came out and executed, and guys made big shots. Chris was phenomenal. Cam Johnson, you know, the shot he made in the corner and the pass he made to DA, I didn't know where that thing was going. Just glad it made it to his hands. So just grateful for the win.
Two key defensive plays, Crowder forcing turnover, then Chris knocking off.
Yeah, I told Chris, you know, those are plays that not many people can make. Most guys would foul in that situation, but he was able to get his hands on the ball somehow. And then DeJounte couldn't figure out where the ball was, and he clipped it before it went out. But just the awareness not to foul, because I haven't seen the film yet, but somebody was coming right behind him. And so in those situations, you don't want to foul because maybe you get a block shot because the offensive guy doesn't see the defender coming behind him. But it was a big time play by Chris.
Chris seems like he's kind of a master at playing one way for 3 quarters and kind of long, and then doing something different in that final quarter, you know, as far as the shots he takes, the different things.
Mm-hmm.
Was he like that 10 years ago, or is that something that he's developed since you coached him in New Orleans, just his ability to?
No, he was like that back then. But bear in mind, I got him at like year 6, I think. So he and David West had big time synergy and pick and roll. And Emeka was a dive guy. And so he had a few guys on that team. You know, Bellinelli was a shooter. Jared Jack was on that team. But at the end of games, it was him and David West. We'd run normal offense throughout the game. And then in closing moments, those 2 guys in pick and stay was what I called it, because D West didn't move. He just turned around and Chris would hit him, and he hit a 15-footer like it was a layup, or Chris would come off and get to his mid-range. So, but that happened in the fourth quarter a lot when we were in New Orleans.
Monty, to go back to the steal on Murray, last year we talked about just like the ball back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think like on those, like what exactly fuels his ability to do that?
Probably a combination of anger and competitive drive and wanting to make amends for something that happened on the offensive end. I've seen it so many times with Chris, where he turns it over and he goes right back and, you know, steals it back. And it's just a huge play for sure.
Jake Crowder, season high 19 tonight, was working for him, and how big was that on a night where, you know, we talked so much about collectively needing guys to step it up just a little bit?
Well, I thought his attacks to the paint were key. We've been talking about him, you know, not always having to take that 3 because 1, he can make it, but 2, teams are trying to run him off the line. And he's been really good at playing in 0.5 the last 3 or 4 games, getting to the basket, shooting his floater. And he also has the ability to find guys. He's just putting it down a lot better and more frequently than he was the first 15 games. And we need it, you know. When you're down as many guys as we're down, you have to figure out ways to generate offense a little bit differently. So that's a different way that we can use to score that we're not typically used to seeing from our team.
You have that drive transition where you didn't get the call and spoke with the ref, and then you got 2 calls later on. Do you feel like that something for a young player where the refs kind of identify like Cam's going to be a guy who's like a physical driver? That's something.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say because then you're delving into a whole different layer of NBA basketball that we kind of know, but we don't want to admit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I like when Jay and Cam and Mikal and Landry are doing that because it takes the pressure off of Chris and Book to have your wings be able to attack the paint. That's who we are. We're a 0.5 team, paint the great. That's what we like to play in. So, but Cam has the ability to get to the paint and finish and find, Against Golden State, he had a really good pocket pass, I think, to JaVale. He has that ability.
Do you think it's adjustment right now for Alfred just getting used to like other ball handlers more consistent?
Yeah.
Always having another guy that he needs to kind of balance with.
No doubt. He's got one of the toughest jobs on our team because he never knows when he's going to play. And then when he does play, he's not playing in the role that he's used to since he's been in the NBA. Sometimes we have him off the ball. Sometimes he has it. I thought his defense in the first half gave us some juice. The second team came in and lifted us a bit. And it started with him on the ball. He was hawking their guys and had them at half court a couple of times. But as far as the adjustment for him, I'm sure it's a lot different. And we've talked about it a little bit. But, Alfred wants to win. When I talk to him and when I've heard his comments to the coaches, like that's his response. He enjoys winning.
Coach, seeing Wainwright, like the time he's played for you,
Yeah.
Has been most effective offensively, but his pressure, like when it comes to defense, is something that I really enjoy seeing. So, what else do you think he brings to the court when it comes to the play?
Strength and mass, physicality, and the ability to run over somebody, but more controlled and has a better understanding than I thought. When I watched him in practice and in our drills, you could see that he picks up stuff pretty quickly. He's typically in the right spot on defense, and he has the ability to stay in front of the ball. And, he doesn't play enough to get a shot rhythm. That's pretty tough when you're playing at the end of the, first quarter, and then you might not play again until the end of the third. It's hard to get a shot rhythm, but that's the slot that we had for Dooley playing for Book or coming in for Book. And that we're not overly concerned about or wanting him to go in and save the day offensively for us. We feel like he can be a really good team defender, and physically he can, put some pressure on the ball.
So Cam Johnson had a tough start shooting
Mhm.
in this game, but that aggression you talked about just in the third quarter and such. Is that what led you to close with Cam?
Yeah, I mean, it was both sides of the ball. I just felt like we needed size when we were switching because they had, some longer guys out there, but his shooting and the ability to stretch the floor, and I know he's not afraid to take those shots. So I was getting on him a little bit about turning down the one shot he did before he made that shot in the corner. I thought he had another one on the wing, and he drove it. And I was just like, just shoot the ball. Then he came right back, and I think Mikal hit him on a paint to great. He got a shot in the corner.